And a mentor told me, and the reason why I did this is because a mentor is like, hey, if you want to go out, be successful, whatever you want to do, if you really want to go be rich, you have to learn skills first. And the best skill you could ever learn is communication and sales. So I'm like, all right, sign me up.
Welcome to the Real Estate Reserve podcast. I'm Jason Balin from Hard Money Bankers. My co-host Ian Horowitz from Equity Warehouse, back at you live with a great episode and a great interview that we're going to bring in a second. If this is your first time tuning into the show, welcome. I promise we'll keep this entertaining, but also informational. But we do like to have a lot of fun as we interview guests. If you're a returning viewer, follower, listener, watcher, we appreciate all the support. Couldn't do this without you. As you guys know, we bring in guests, mostly real estate investors and entrepreneurs that are actively investing in real estate. And I'm definitely looking forward to interviewing Blake for this episode, huh, Ian?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely excited. It's always good to talk about real estate, different sales techniques, and all those other fun things. And it's always just a great learning lesson for us. I'm in the middle of this $50 million challenge over on CRE-syndicate.com. I'm trying to buy $50 million of stabilized real estate by the end of December, by the end of this year. And I have a very limited pipeline. Got our first deal under contract, got $1 million against the till. I hope if this thing closes to get us down to 49 million. So it's going to be fun and interesting. So hopefully I can learn some sales tactics today. But with that being said, guys, if you're getting value out of this, the best thing you can do for our guests is go ahead and share it. It's the best compliment we can give our guests. We don't care about the 5-star likes, the subscriptions, and all that other crap. Give the shares. Let's show our love to our guests. These are real guys doing real deals, not gurus. They're not selling stuff. They're here to tell you about how it works for them and how they've grinded out their portfolio. So with that, enough from me and Jason, and let's bring Blake in. What's up, brother? How you doing?
What's going on, guys? Excited to be here, man.
Yeah, man. No, it's where are you calling from? Where we got you from?
Calling from Provo, Utah. If people don't know where that is, it's just south of Salt Lake.
No, other side of the country. So it is relatively early while we're recording this. So that being said, I guess tell everybody what you do.
Cool. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a salesman. I'm a leadership kind of coach and a real estate investor. So over the last 5 years, I've done that and kind of executed all those things through doing door-to-door sales, actually.
So by the time you were 24, you became a millionaire. Walk us through kind of that process of the mental process first. Of when did you decide you wanted to be a millionaire?
Yeah. So everything I believe is created spiritually before it's created physically. And from the ages of 18 to 20, I lived in Peru, and I was a missionary for my church. So I went and I knocked doors and taught the gospel for free for 2 years. And when I got back, I was 20, and I just felt like the world was my oyster, and I was just fired up on life and figured I could do anything. And the first book I read after just kind of being disconnected from the world is a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Sure.
And it starts talking about how you could leverage your mind to become rich, essentially. And I have $300 in my bank account, and I'm reading this book, and I'm just like, yeah, man, let's go. Let's just go do impossible things. And so set a goal to be a millionaire by the age of 24. And for the next 4 years, I'm now 26, but for the next 4 years after I set that goal, I remember writing it every single day. I'd have sticky notes in my car. I would sit and just think about how I would do it. I would visualize having the money. And the mental process was just breaking down the barriers and just coming to the belief that I could do that and kind of be part of that 1% group or the uncommon group that does that at a young age.
So I guess that ended up in around a 4-year process to get that. Maybe
Yeah.
It was less than that, but between your age of 20, I guess, when you moved back to Utah, to when you're 24, when you're officially a millionaire, was that through real estate, or was that through accumulating real estate? Was that through selling? Obviously, sales guys can make a good amount of money. walk us through kind of how that wealth was accumulated so quickly.
Yeah. So for the next year and a half after I came home from my mission, I started different companies, window washing, Christmas lights, just kind of bounced around the service industry. And I just was like, this isn't going to get me there. And I had a buddy at the time that just got back from doing door-to-door sales, selling pest control. And he made 80 grand in 4 months summer. So if anyone's not familiar with like summer sales, they take these college students when they're not in college and they ship them out to a market and they sell purely commission-based pest control or security or solar. In this case, I did pest control. And a mentor told me, and the reason why I did this is because a mentor is like, hey, if you want to go out, be successful, whatever you want to do, if you really want to go be rich, you have to learn skills first. And the best skill you could ever learn is communication and sales. So I'm like, all right, sign me up. I didn't think that there's a better way out there for me to go learn the skill than go door to door knocking. We knock like 150, 200 doors a day. And so you get a lot of reps in. And so a year and a half after I got home, I went and did my first summer and I made 118 grand in 4 months. And the reason I went out, I was like, cool, I want to take this money. Then I'm just going to go buy real estate. And then I'm just going to continue to get more and acquire more real estate from there. But after my first summer, I did pretty well. I was like, man, what if I got like 40 of my friends to come out with me the next year? And so you can make money off your own personal sales, but then if you manage a team, you make money off of everybody that you bring in and their production as well. So my second year, I went out, year 2, and I brought 40 of my friends out and I made 400 grand. And so I'm 22 at this point. And I was like, man, this is sick. So this is working out. And then I'm taking all that money and then I'm putting it into real estate. And then my third summer, I'm like, cool, let's take it to a whole nother level. And we quadrupled the amount of people we brought out. So my third summer, it was when I was 23, but I got paid out when I was 24. I made $1,028,000 in the summer. So it was life-changing, man. So that's kind of the route. And ever since then, I've just been continue to do that and dropping it into real estate.
Yeah, that's nuts. So how many sales guys did you have under you that
so yeah, currently I have 250 guys right now.
So you're still involved in that?
That's right.
Pest control, you said, or other stuff?
Yeah, pest control.
Yeah, I mean, I've got friends in the solar space and the home improvement contractor space that do that, not at that level, but they, well, actually, I don't know. The one that runs some sales teams potentially does, but I think it's a lot bigger than some might think. And here's the thing: like, I'll be the first one to admit that I don't love door to door. I don't love getting a knock on my door, door to door either. But also, I respect the hustle, and as a business owner, an entrepreneur, and sales guy, I respect the hustle, and I do also believe that it is the best skill set for you to have. It's like the highest level of sales. You're looking at somebody in the eye, right? Like it's completely cold. It's the coldest you can get. You're knocking on somebody's door. They're opening it up. It is super freaking odd for the first few seconds. You got to open up the sale with something very unintrusive to get them to like and trust you very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And then you go down that path. And I would guess that your close rate is, a lot higher on that type of sale than most other types of sales.
Yeah.
So I definitely respect that hustle.
Thanks, man. We eat what we kill. It's crazy out here.
Where do you think that skill set comes from? So like what I'm asking is, like, do you feel like you're the best door-to-door salesman and you can teach that skill set to a group of guys to then go repeat that? Or do you think you're more of a business guy that's like, well, I know door-to-door sales work, I have a pretty good understanding, but I can build a ridiculous team?
You got it. Yeah, that's the second one. So I never actually viewed myself as a salesman. I've always viewed myself as an entrepreneur. And truly, when I've taken that approach, that's what's allowed me to scale. For the first 2 years I went and sold, I no longer go out and sell. I just now recruit people in, which is kind of my sell. It's like basically a human to human. It's like B2B kind of sale. So I now focus on recruiting larger teams from other companies or competitors, bringing them in, and then scaling leadership at this point. So I would definitely say my approach at the beginning was, hey, I'm a businessman. I want to scale this into a business rather than a salesman. I want to go make money.
And do you guys only door-to-door sell in Utah, or do you guys work outside your market?
Yeah, we go all around the country. So we're in 38 different markets, our company. And like, so I fly out to Nashville later today, be in Cincinnati next week, North Carolina. So we're all around.
Yeah. See, I always feel like I'm kind of like with Jason. I don't know that I would ever buy from a door salesman, because usually I walk off, I'm like, nah, dude, I'm good. Like, I'm just not mentally there. And some days I'm like, well,
if they get through, but if they get through to you after the first 2 minutes, you're sold, dude. You're just gonna have your guard up, and you're probably a little bit more aggressive than other people. But like, you're gonna have your guard up. You're gonna have your guard up because most people will, right? Like, it's just human instinct. It's just natural. But after they get in and sit on your, on your sofa with you, or present the product to you, like, that close ratio is freaking high. It's just, you just got to get to that setup. Do you guys set it up where, you go out in teams where you have like a setter who, is okay with getting the appointment, and then the next person comes in to close it?
So Just Solar does that. Pest Control, what's unique about it is we go from straight cold to close within like 10 minutes. And so we go in, break the ice, deliver value, pitch, price, close, all within that 5 to 10 minute span. So Ian, what I would say, my friend, is I've learned that the absolute
big screen.
The best deals that you'll ever get, like, you can get the cheapest product or the best price product by buying door to door.
Yeah, like, that crosses my mind every once in a while. Like, one time the black toppers were coming around, I'm like, I'm just not in the right mood, and I was like, do it. And afterwards, I think I had remorse to not take it. But it's also like some of these things that they're pounding on your door on, like, you're just not in the right mindset. And I guess it's like anything though. Like, so how have you related this skill set to building a real estate portfolio? Like, are you doing on-market deals, off-market deals? Like, have you used this skill set elsewhere?
Here's the greatest thing that this has taught me is most people think that you, like what we're talking about, that you have to just find the right buyer. In sales, you have to actually create the buyer. Like, I might show up to Ian's house and he might be pissed off, but I gotta work with that, and then eventually get him to a point where he is in a better mood to be in a buying position. Similar to real estate, most people think that deals are found. I actually believe deals are created. And so you can look at a deal and someone could be like, yeah, that deal doesn't work. It doesn't math out. But if you negotiate in a correct way and you get great terms, or if you get creative with it, that deal could be actually a freaking phenomenal investment. And so that's the correlation I found with real estate, which is a very fun game.
That's fair. I can see that. Ian, you probably don't know this, but the first deal we ever did, we bought door to door, made $30,000 on a wholesale deal. I wasn't the one that went door to door. I was just involved in the deal. But when we were doing stuff with Josh in like Philly and New Jersey, he had a home improvement company, and his entire home improvement company was fueled by door to door sales. Right. That was very, very common. And he would do that with sales teams. And he activated those sales teams as we were starting to buy real estate together. He activated those sales teams to, instead of go and try to do home improvement stuff, go try to buy houses. And this was also when, like, mid 2000s, there was a decent amount of distressed houses. But also it was, hey, when you're in somebody's house, if you're trying to, you're trying to sell them a new roof or something, maybe they just want to sell. Are you up for getting an offer? So anyways, one of those sales guys found a deal that we ended up wholesaling for $30,000. So it was interesting. So is your game plan make a lot of money by, with this door-to-door company that you run, and take that money and invest into income-producing real estate? Is that safe to say?
Yeah, that's right. The idea is just buy as much real estate that will eventually, cover what I'm currently making in door-to-door, and then be able to leave door-to-door.
Got it. Yeah. I mean, a lot of very good life lessons from that. And, you know, it's another kind of interesting thing about real estate is I feel like a lot of people get into real estate because they think it's like the fastest path to cash. And you certainly can make a lot of money in real estate, right? You can flip some properties, you can wholesale properties, you can make a decent amount of money. But like, I believe that it does take time. Like real estate is a long play and it takes time to do that. And not that you can't make quick money, but
Sure.
I don't think you can make the amount of money that you're making through sales commissions or sales hustling. So I think you're kind of doing it the right way. And I've also mentioned on the show before that the most successful real estate investors I know didn't start off as full-time real estate investors. They started off with like working their normal job and investing in real estate on the side until that real estate, you know, worked out. And the more money you make, right, the more hustle and the more money you can make in your day job or selling or doing other things to invest in real estate, you know, the quicker path you can have. You know, a lot of people in general probably only have the ability to do an extra deal or two.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like how many deals did you buy like your first year?
So when I made 118, dude, this is funny actually. This is a no. So I went and made 118 grand when I was 21. I couldn't qualify for anything. My dad wouldn't co-sign with me. And I didn't think to like get creative enough to figure out another way. So I bought a duplex in cash for 100 grand out in Kentucky. So I put almost all my money into it. So that was my first deal. That basically took out all my cash. And then the next year when I made 400 grand, then I bought a fourplex, and then I went and house hacked, so I had a little bit more money. But that was kind of the trajectory, how it all began. And then from there, I've just leveraged more and more and more.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're probably living on very minimal money because you're just reinvesting all your proceeds, which is the other thing that everybody does freaking wrong is they make a lot of money and they start spending a lot of money. And then whatever's left over, which isn't much, is they go invest. Like you're paying yourself first, right? When I say first, like your assets, your money's going to your assets first, and your household bank account, you know, is last, you know, your spend. So yeah, I mean, I think that's great. I mean, especially at such a young age to learn that, you know, and to understand that. I mean, I don't think a lot of people, because I guess for the most part at the age of 20, maybe, you know, you had thoughts going through your head pre that. But it seems like at the age of 20, you know, that was your aha moment that I think most people have at probably the age of 30.
Yeah.
And you have such an upper hand over everybody because of it, you know, an extra decade of, you know, leverage.
Well, dude, go live a distilled life for 2 years, right? I mean, you said you went to Peru. I'm assuming you have no cell phone, you have no communication besides the people you're living with, right? Like you're living a pretty distilled life at that point.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess, you know, sometimes there is that competitive advantage, like, you know, depending based on, I guess, your religion, you know, it's very pure, you know, where I've done some bad shit in my life, you know, out enjoying life, you know what I mean? But that also comes with a toll. You know, what if I would have put all that energy of going to hang out with my friends on Friday night into saying, well, screw it, I'm going to go build a business, right? And I think, you know, obviously a lot of people from your community do well with that. I know Grant Cardone talks about it a lot of just like, dude, cut the alcohol, cut this dumb shit, you know, live life, but in the same sense, go produce for yourself. I think that's an interesting thing, to say the least, to go out and talk about. I mean, I'm not a churchgoer, synagogue goer by any means, but sometimes you gotta wonder, dude. So
no, I love that. It's the delayed gratification at the end of the day. And I think once again, it depends on everyone's vision. Someone might be fine working when they're 50 or 60. I'm not fine with that at all. Like I just won't tolerate that, right? I want to stop working when I'm 35. Stop needing to work. Always work, right? And so I just had a clear vision from a young age. I was kind of an old young guy. And because of that, I just was like, hey, how do we do this as fast as possible? So I don't live an average life for the next 60 years. Maybe I live incredibly imbalanced for the next 10, 15. get to live an extraordinary life for the next 50. So that was just the price I chose to pay, and everyone's vision is a little bit different.
No, I agree. And I mean, I think that was, I don't know if you ever read the book The Millionaire Fastlane, by MJ DeMarco, but it's the same concept. It's like, and it's very relatable to real estate investors in general, because a lot of real estate investors are getting into real estate. They want to be full-time real estate investors, or they're following the system of, hey, I make a lot of money, but I'm investing it in whatever 401k or some sort of stock market stuff. And it's just like, that's not the fast lane. That's like, cool. When you're 60 plus years old, you'll have plenty of money and you can retire and you can do whatever you want. But like, what's going to happen between the age of 20 and 60? Like, you're going to be doing your grind, and you don't need to. Ian and I are whatever, 15 years or so older than you. And I'll tell you that, like, we have a lot of friends that, became pretty successful early on, and they made a good amount of money. And then they kind of like, not that they called it quits, but they like took their foot off the pedal. And that snowball, when that starts growing, and you've grown your snowball, like, it should never slow down, and it doesn't need to slow down, right? Like, you, with your real estate that you're buying, like, that's going to continue to keep going, right? Like, but a lot of guys, they're like, I made it. And it's just like, yeah, you made it today, but like, what's going to happen in like 10 years from now? Like, do you have an investment vehicle that's going to continue to spit out cash flow during the good times and the bad times? And, I think a lot of industries that a lot of us are in, like when COVID hit, actually helped a lot of these industries. But that's not the case all the time. Some industries got freaking smoked, and something like that might come up again. Like, you need to be able to create this like never ending legacy building thing that, like, you can't F up even if you wanted to F it up. Like, it just keeps going and going and going. And like, your next generation, it'll be on autopilot for your next generation and the next generation and the next generation. And until that's built, I just don't see why or how you would ever take your foot off the pedal.
Yeah.
Because like, people grind, and like you said, like, I want to be able to stop working, but I don't want to stop working. And and listen, people hire employees, right, to, number one, grow, but also to like take stuff off your plate, right? You don't have to just stop. Be like, yep, I hit my goal. I got a few $1 million in my bank account. I'm going to stop. Well, guess what? In 10 years from now, they're going to be starting over, and starting over when they're in their like 50s is way worse than starting from scratch.
100%.
So,
100%.
So no, I mean, it's good. So, I mean, I get it.
But there's also a level of maturity that comes with it, right? And I think Blake's already said this. Like, I'm an old guy in a young man's body, and I think there's a level of maturity that comes with that responsibility. I mean, the fact of being able to run a 7-figure company at the age of 24 is like impressive. I just personally was not mature enough by any means to handle that. So I think there's also a level of, having to navigate that, knowing who you are and realizing where you're at in your life and what you're ready for at that next level, whatever that might be for you. And maybe it's coming from partying like a rock star and settling down and squaring it away at 40 or 50. I mean, I know a dude, he partied like a rock star and did not clean himself up till he was 47 or 48 years old because he lost his job. But that was the trigger that pushed him over the edge to finally get his shit in order. So it comes in different levels for everybody.
Yeah, no doubt. So how do you see the next 10 years of your life? Are you going to continue to kind of grind with the sales operation and growing this team, and continue to buy real estate? And like, what types of real estate do you see yourself focused on?
Yeah, great question. As far as the business side, my personal opinion on business is to get out of the weeds as much as possible. So I don't want to be self-employed, which means I have to be there in order for the business to run. So my objective with the door-to-door stuff and the other businesses I get involved with is to create it in a way where I can not be involved and it continue to work as an asset. And then on the real estate side, I'm trying to go as much as I can into just creative finance from here on out. So nothing that needs my credit, nothing that I have to get a bank for. And And that's where the negotiation skill comes in place, where I get to leverage this skill set of, hey, let's find a way where you're walking away with a win, and I'm also walking into this with all the terms that I want, with the interest rate that I want. And so I think creative finance is a really, really fun way to go about real estate. And that's kind of where my focus is headed.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great way. I think you might know my buddy Lame. He's up there.
Yeah.
He's a good dude. And same thing. He went the creative route, and he, figured out how to put the two skill sets together, right? And that's what it came down to. He's like, dude, I lived wherever in Africa. I had nothing, but I learned how to sell. And then when I came back, he did a solar company, and then off he went. And now all he does is creative Airbnb financing, which is just amazing.
Yeah.
And I think you'll be successful if you can marry the two together and work through it. Like you said, you're creating deals. Dude, it's definitely intriguing. I think there's a lot of skills that you can learn from the sales. What do you think the number one skill you learn from selling door to door is, like, that someone could apply in their business today?
I actually, so there's a mental side and then there's a technical side, because I actually believe the people that succeed best at door to door just have a different way of thinking. They're probably missing something up in their head that makes them just better at it. So I think on the mental side, it's just resiliency. Like, dude, I expect rejection. I'm fine with rejection. I love rejection, and every no is just one no closer to another yes. So I think that's important, because truly, dude, 99% of people still have an intense fear of rejection in everything that they do. And so I'm just numb to it. I don't care. I love it. I'm cool with it. On the technical side, I think the greatest thing that I've learned in sales and what sets me apart is actually just my ability to listen, understand, and ask good questions. Because you can actually lead people to where you want them to if you just guide them with the right questions and you listen, and then you adapt according to what they're saying. Most salesmen just want to talk and get you to go where they want. But I actually believe the best way to influence is all you do is guide them through questions and listening. And that's been the best technical skill that I've learned.
Yeah. I agree. That makes a lot of sense. And I think if you're a real estate investor or business owner or salesperson listening or watching this, like, that's a really, really good takeaway. Put your ego and your status aside, quit talking. With experience, you obviously have talked to enough people. Like, you can, we're big believers in dispersonality assessments, and like, I know exactly who a person is I'm talking to or looking at in 2 seconds, just because, like, you study it. Just like, some people don't think it's important. Some people just don't even think about it in general. But it's like, when you're eyeing somebody up, or you're having a conversation with somebody, or you're investing with somebody, you're buying somebody's house, you're partnering with somebody on a deal, you're getting money from somebody, you're lending money to somebody, like, you need to know all that stuff. Like, it's important to learn. It's important to learn all of that stuff so you can see where you're at. Because if I'm going to communicate with or negotiate with like a I personality type, like a high I personality type, I got to take a completely different approach than a C personality type that's going to be super analytical. The way I talk to my controller in my office, who's an analytical person, is way different than I'm going to talk to a salesperson in my office. The stuff, the activities and the things that I'm going to do with them, or the way I'm going to communicate, or the way that I'm going to coach, train, work with them is very different, right? One's going to be completely offended if I deal with them that way, and the other one, you know how that goes. So I think that goes a long way, and I think real estate investors don't take that in consideration. But especially ones that are doing a lot of in-person. I mean, keep in mind, in real estate investing right now, it's hard to find deals on MLS, right? You're not just, hey, call my real estate agent and give me a deal. Sure. Like, you're going back to what it used to be, like creative real estate investing, where you're doing direct mail, you're doing bandit signs, you're doing door to door, you're doing whatever it takes to get appointments with sellers. there might be a real estate agent involved, but there might not be a real estate agent involved. And you need to figure out a way that you're communicating with them and, they trust you pretty darn quickly so you can, help them out and solve their problem. Because it's not about you, it's about them. It's about solving their problem. So if you don't solve their problem, you're never solving your problem of, having a small wallet. So I think what you said was great.
One thought on that. Every person has wants. Every person has needs. So Ian might not want to buy from me selling him door to door, but I know he has wants and needs. And if I listen and ask the right questions, I can eventually get to those wants and I can get to those needs. If I'm in a situation where the seller has a listing, he has wants and needs. And if I can just listen to him enough, I can actually create a scenario that he hadn't thought of before that's still very advantageous for him in selling his house, but works a lot better for me than his first scenario that he had created. And so I love that.
No doubt. No, I definitely commend you. And I think that all the listeners and viewers, really think about kind of this conversation, what Blake was sharing, because I think there's a lot of value in there and really understanding and mastering it. And, there's books, there's YouTube videos on mastering selling and negotiation, because it's number one skill that you need. Like you said, hey, Blake, one other last question that we ask all of our guests. I know you mentioned the book Think and Grow Rich, and I agree that's a great book that you read 4 years ago. What's a recent book or podcast that you've really kind of dug into lately based on where you're at currently inside your business and your journey that you could recommend and share with the group?
Yeah, I've fallen in love with an author. His name's Ben Hardy.
Yep.
He's cool. He just writes some awesome books. And so he wrote a book called Who Not How, which just changed my way of how to scale. Most people instinctively are like, cool, how do I do this? It's like, no, who can do this? He recently wrote a book called 10X is Easier Than 2X. And I'm big on just like rapid growth, big scale. And that book taught me everything I need to know in order to go to the next level, and everything I need to let go of, and the things I need to stop doing. In order to go to the next level, it's actually less about what you need to start doing and actually a lot more about what you need to stop doing. And so that would be my number one recommendation.
Dude, is that his newest book? 10X is Easy?
Yeah, newest book.
Why haven't I heard of that? I mean, I know I've read Who Not How. I've read some of his other stuff, and I love all of them. I got to put that on my list.
Good,
might be bumping my current read
off
of my Audible account to jump into that.
Because
I agree.
10X your read, Jay. Come on. Blake, where's the best place people can find you on the internet? They want to learn more about what you're doing, how you're doing it, or see what you're doing.
Yeah, stay up to date with me, and you guys, anyone can message me at any point. So my Instagram is @TheBlakeErickson. That's the one I'm most present on and the most responsive on. And shoot me a follow. I'd love to connect.
All right. Well, sounds like a plan. We appreciate you coming on, being transparent, showing us around what you're doing. Guys, if you got any value out of this, the best compliment we can give Blake is by sharing this show. And we will catch you guys on the next one.
Thanks for tuning in to the Real Estate Reserve Podcast. Do us a favor and like, comment, and share our broadcast. It helps the algorithm and helps us spread the word too. Till next time, thank you for tuning in.